Hello and welcome. Anyone who's been to Merchant City Yoga on a Sunday knows how much I love catching up with everyone over a cup of my freshly brewed spiced chai. These Sunday chai sessions really bring everyone together. A true celebration of friendship, community and connection. I want to try and capture some of that magic and share it with you at home. So I've invited some familiar faces from our MCY family to chat with me online over a cuppa. I'm affectionately calling them the chai sessions. Pop the kettle on, get yourself comfy and come and join us.
Hi Jules.
Hello.
Thank you so much for joining me. One more chai session down. Look, we've both got our cuppa ready to go. So very briefly, just for folks who maybe don't know you, Jules comes through to the studio from Edinburgh every month and offers the most amazing massage therapies known to man. Aww. And so I go, my mum goes, even Jane, my hairdresser, goes, and we all agree that we've all had some great massages in our time, but what you offer, Jules, is something quite special, and none of us can quite put our finger on what it is that's so special. So
thank you.
I thought we could maybe start just by asking, how would you describe what you do? Like, how do you talk about what you do?
I still talk about it with some difficulty. I think when people ask me like what kind of massage I do, I usually describe it as kind of like deep tissue from a physical point of view, but it's really much more than that. I think it's changed a lot for me since like training so many years ago, and it's really developed as I've developed. So it's deep work. It's deep work physically, and I am very much into opening the door for the deep work emotionally in that body work space. You know, it's kind of like I bring the components of, you know, emotional, spiritual, energetic and physical together.
And so tell me, what got you started on that road? What took your interest?
Oh, well, you know, it's funny because I've always wanted to be a massage therapist. My mom and dad used to say that, like, you know, when you'd ask kids what they wanted to be, I used to say masseuse then, because that's the word that we use.
Yeah, it's got different connotations these days.
Yeah, it's not the word that we really like now. But it was so funny because it's a weird thing for a child to say, you know?
Yeah, but, really unusual.
Yeah, I was always like massage, and my mom and dad, and just loved it. So it kind of, I went to college when I was 18 to do massage, and I'd done reflexology the year before. And then I left because my dad died, and I went back and did the course a few years later. And I think everything that I've been doing kind of in my own personal development, it all kind of wove in together, you know what I mean?
And do you think, was it something to do with the power of touch then that sort of attracted you, or do you think it was more just making a difference and helping people on some level?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of both. I've always been a kind of a helper, you know. I've always been quite tuned into other people, I think, and that's what like my family would say about me even when I was very young. But I had that kind of ingrained kind of enjoyment of touch, you know. So I think it's a bit of both for sure. And I think for me, massage and body work is just like a wonderful way to bring that care for people, you know. And then obviously, like, you know, when people coming in and they're talking and they're sharing, so it just seems to go really well together. I don't think they can exist without each other, really, you know. Yeah.
Now, I know that you've been doing more studying and are planning to do even more. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about that and how you see that tying in and developing what the work you've done already with your massage therapy?
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually found out last week that I got a place on the Masters of Counselling program at Abertay. I know. So I'm still a bit like, but I'm delighted.
Congratulations.
So thank you so much. So where I see it going eventually is kind of moving into that talk therapy and that body work together, because I really think that they need each other. I think we're quite disconnected from our bodies, and that can have a myriad of different reasons, and there's nothing wrong with that. But we often don't even realize. And I think when people have a yoga practice as well, they start to come into that sense of their bodies, and what's being held there, both physical and emotional, and kind of the crossovers between the two. So I think that in relation to the counseling work, I think it's a really beautiful blend between having to like talk and process and needing that. And often people haven't shared their story or they've had a voice, but equally, for me, that's not where it ends, because the body has to process it or has to feel, or sometimes the very act of coming into your body can be, a painful experience or a great experience, or all of that, So, yeah.
Yeah, it's super interesting and super exciting, because like you say, I do think or feel that when we're trying to help people, it's like either talking or movement or touch.
Yeah.
Like they're each and of themselves, they're amazing, but they are inherently limited in what they can do. And I think if we can help people on lots of different levels, then that's obviously going to be more effective. And I definitely see with folk coming into yoga class, like culturally now, it's from here up, like everything's thinking very, very visual as well, like not much listening, not much tuning in, and not much being able to relate to what's going on down here, and being able to interpret and utilize, or whatever else it is you want to do with the sensations in the body as well. Just being really unfamiliar.
Absolutely.
Really unfamiliar with them.
Yeah. Well, we don't live in a culture, like in the West, that really kind of celebrates introspection or even it kind of acknowledges the body, and what's going on in that. So yeah, it's very heady. And then as you start to come down, it can be like a process where, say, if you're in a yoga session, or, there's levels of disconnection that we experience in our bodies, and that's okay. As I said, that there's reasons for that. But that kind of homecoming, so it's like, this can still be here, but can we start to move a little bit more into the body, and what that feels like. And I think that often we don't know what to do. And so yoga, body work is a really great way to start to have some support, to be able to go, oh, I have a body,
Yeah. How did that get there?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, you're just going about, and then it's just like, oh, what's this, Yeah.
So do you have, like, obviously we're at the yoga studio, we're at Merchant City Yoga. So would you say that you had a regular yoga and or meditation practice, and maybe talk a little bit about where that sits with your work?
Yeah, I mean, I don't, it's tragic to say I don't have a regular yoga practice, but I've been doing yoga on and off for a very long time. I love the yin stuff. I love anything kind of slow, and actually it kind of ties in, I think, with my personality, even though I can be quite vibrant in ways. Like the massage work I do, as you'll know, is really slow, and that's the kind of yoga practice that I enjoy, where I get a sense of what's happening here. Can I stay, so, but I definitely do I have a couple of moves that I do before and after, just to support my own body. But yeah, I have a strong meditation practice, and that's been cultivated over the last 15 years, and for me, it's really, it's a really important practice in loads of ways, and I was very lucky, obviously. In addition to the massage work I do Reiki, reflexology, shamanic work. And when I'm working with a client, it's really a lovely meditation for me as well, bringing that kind of awareness. As I'm asking the client to bring their awareness to their body, I'm bringing my awareness to my body. How does it feel to move? Where am I feeling restrictions in my own body as well? And so I think it's a really complementary. I think meditation can complement anything, but for me in particular, because it's quite, my work is generally quite quiet as well, you know.
Yeah,
So
and sometimes that's quite hard to do, isn't it? It's quite hard to be in silence when you're with someone else.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, because we have this, I don't know if we do silences between people very well, you know, and that's okay too. But there is also other ways, you know. Yeah. And it's just, I suppose, when we're talking a lot, say, you know, again, it's quite up here. It's kind of nice to drop in. And for some people, like having an hour's silence in their day is a big deal, you know.
Yeah, really unusual. And I mean, something else I'm sure you find with your clients, and I certainly find with folk who come to classes, like that's the only time they have. Like, you know, having carved out that time for themselves, it's very, very rare that they do it at any other time.
Absolutely.
I mean, I know for myself, I love coming in to you because it's like an hour where nobody can reach me.
Yeah, exactly.
And what I do as well is, like, while the temptation is to chat to you, I try and just be there as well and follow you around. And I know you're saying it's a slow practice for you, but for me it is the fastest 60 minutes.
I know, isn't it?
I feel like I'm just laying down and you're like, right, do you do that?
Yeah. I mean, it's terrible. It's terrible. You'd be right to say, no, I'm not going anywhere. No, I'm not done yet.
Don't stop.
Yeah. But I think that's as well when our body, we're just like, and our, you know, our energetic body as well is just soaking it in and being like, I want more of this, you know.
Oh, like that's what it absolutely feels like. It just like it's so good. And I think, you know, we've spoken a little bit about what's been happening over the last kind of couple of years or so. It's almost like we've forgotten how good and how valuable these experiences are. Like, because we've learned to manage without them.
Absolutely. And I think that, you know, it's been a long time of, you know, over the pandemic and lockdown, that people couldn't go to yoga classes in person. They couldn't have any body work. And so there is a kind of a, oh, well, I'm all right, you know. And what I've noticed is that when people come back, when they came back after, you know, it was like that, oh yeah, I remember why I need this, you know. Yeah. Like for me, I couldn't wait to get back on the massage couch as a client, you know. I was like just diving onto it, but you know,
no, literally,
literally just launching myself onto it, you know. But I think that I think that there can be just, we forget, you know, but we can also remember again, you know.
Yes, definitely. So I'm excited to hear actually that you take yourself for treatment.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You have someone that you go, so it's not just about you shoring all of us up all the time.
No, I go for regular treatments, and I used to go for a lot of craniosacral therapy as well. It's just vital for me. I mean, and not vital because I'm a massage therapist and my work is physical, but to have that getting to know myself. I think I got to know myself more through having regular body work than most other things that I've done.
I certainly find that as well. It's just it's an amazing opportunity to tune in a little bit. And you know, I know I have a really physical yoga practice, but it does something different. And like I say, like I talk to Mum about it, talk to Jane about it all the time, and just can't quite put our finger on what it is. So tell me, like, from your work, what is the thing you think that kind of brings you most joy or most satisfaction? Or
I think being a loving, safe space for people. Definitely. I hear most from people that, or even like new clients that might have been recommended to me, or I've been recommended by other people that they know. And what I hear most is that they say that they trust me, and that will never stop being such a beautiful, beautiful thing to hear. So, you know, be in that safe space for people, whether if they want to, you know, just like sleep or relax or have pain, you know, pain relief, or cry or process a bit, that everything is okay in that space with me. And that brings me the most joy. Absolutely. Yeah.
And what might frustrate you a little bit about what you do?
Frustrate me a little bit.
Or just bug the hell out of you, you know?
There's not a lot, actually. I guess very late cancellations, but there's not a good reason.
Yeah.
You know, but I know there's usually a good reason, and life happens, of course, but I think it's hard for any therapist really trying to negotiate a diary. I think particularly with COVID, that's been tricky, because if people have COVID and they find out last minute, or someone that they've been in contact with, you know, and of course that's perfectly okay. And, you know,
absolutely.
But there's a more diary work, shall we say.
Yeah, because I mean, I do think, I mean, I know we've had these like whinges before, and I think it's probably frustrations that are shared across quite a lot of, you know, small businesses that operate similar to ours. But it feels to me that over the last couple of years as well, there's something that's going on that it's almost like we're allowed to be a little bit less committed and a little bit more disorganized, because that's been just the nature of how things have been. And with being online, it's maybe made it a bit easier to cancel at the last minute or not show up or whatever. But when we're in person and relying on appointments that someone else could have had, you know, I think that makes it particularly frustrating. You know, from a kind
it does. I mean, I
business
think everyone
point of view.
I think everyone is trying to negotiate their lives as best they can in a lot of new ways. And I think there's a more than just a strong hangover from the last couple of years that people are trying to negotiate, whether they're conscious of it or not. So, you know, things are harder for people. And I think how they show up for themselves and others can be a little bit tricky sometimes.
It's changed, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has.
So are you seeing that reflected in what folk are coming to you to help, looking for help with?
Yeah, I mean, I think well, when I first went back after everything, there was just like, you know, obviously we had touch deprivation, you know, so it was a really big deal for people to be touched again, you know.
Absolutely.
And I mean, I really understood the kind of, you know, how important that was and how emotional that could be, you know. So I think that, there was a lot of, I think, people just wanting to have that kind of touch again, you know.
I mean, I know for me, going back into the yoga room and as a teacher who would offer hands-on assist, it actually felt quite emotional for me as well to be able to offer that again. And also, I think I felt the weight of responsibility a little bit heavier than I did before, because I think we'd all been asked to look at what we were doing and consider what we were doing and why we were doing it and what we were doing it for, like what, you know, and certainly one of the conclusions I've come to is touch is so powerful and so important. Because just while you were talking there, I was thinking, so because I first started coming to you to get regular massage, so first of all, cause I was a bit broken, I'd hurt something, and so I was looking for help with that, which I think is actually why many of us seek out a lot of these therapies or yoga classes, where there's something that's we want to change, whether that's like, you know, something we've hurt or broken or whatever. But then I kept coming rather as a preventative measure to, and it was actually on quite a physical level. I was thinking about it was to kind of prevent further injury, so to support the rehabilitation of the injury that I'd sustained, and also to prevent further injury. But see, listening to you talk, the more I think about it, the more I think it's been preventative on a much wider, like our bigger scale.
Yeah.
Because when I couldn't come to you, like over the last 2 years, like certainly physically, like I really struggled, and like I had injury after injury and struggled to work with them. But just everything, I think what I get from you is preventative on not just a physical level. It kind of like, you know, at the risk of sounding like we're now dropping into a woo-woo, Jules, you know, but like emotionally and spiritually, just that kind of bolstering or shoring up, or I can't quite describe it, but just like plumping up, I'm going to say.
Yeah.
I come in and you're just like, Judy, you're like a big cushion. Poof, poof, poof.
I totally understand what you're saying. And incidentally, of course, lots of people come just for like with injuries or just general tightness and stiffness and stuff like that. And that there's nothing wrong with that, of course, you know.
But I think to say you are a wizard with that. Like even without the other stuff, a wizard with that.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's without wanting to sound kind of prideful, I think that that's one of my kind of gifts, is to, you know, to work. I can work on the physical, you know, just on the well, it's never just the physical way.
No.
But just bringing that love to the treatments, if you're working out something or tension or whatever, you know, is really transformative to actually heal things too, you know. Yeah. So just to finish up, what's next? Where's next? What's the dream, like now that you've got into your master's course, and like what's going to be next? Where are you heading? I think it'll be a very interesting few years for me. I think it's going to really, I can see my massage work will probably change as I go deeper into the study, and into obviously my own self-development will go so much deeper, and that will naturally show up in the way I work, you know. Eventually, long term, I will combine talk therapy and body work together, you know. And that's the only way I'll work. But that's not for a good while yet, you know. But I think it will just I try and let it have its kind of own evolution, the work that I do, so that it doesn't get stale, or for the client, and it doesn't get stale for me either. I want to keep that kind of aliveness and freshness, which I think comes as the therapist changes.
Yeah, with your own practice.
Yeah,
with your own
exactly.
study.
It just naturally changes, you know. Yeah, it's not something that you even have to kind of sit and go, okay, so how, you know, am I going to change or whatever? It's just like this natural thing that happens.
Yeah. Oh, Jules, thank you so much for being part of the MCY family.
Thank you
Wish
so
I was there
much.
with you now for a wee.
I know, give you a quick.
Yeah, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you so much. This has been so lovely.
Yeah,
always a joy to talk to you.
See you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed our chat. If you've got any questions, you can email me or find us on social media. I'll see you here next time.